Welcome to the Unstoppable Force podcast. I'm Guy.
And I'm Rob.
And this week we're talking about something that went, I guess it's more like the general topic, but it's based on something that went trending this weekend.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just deep fakes. But this weekend there was totally just jumbled my words. There was a trending topic where essentially it was Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. as Marty and the Doc from Back to the Future, and that's it.
Yeah,
Back to the Future, which is hilarious. And Tom Holland basically looks identical to Marty in a lot of ways. Like, not obviously identical, but
what's the childish look? I guess
they look similar.
Yeah.
So he just like fit in perfectly. But Robert Downey Jr. it was interesting seeing his face on Doc.
Yeah.
I feel like it fit, but at the same time it didn't feel like Doc. It felt like somebody else. But the mannerisms are the same, so you can't change the voices with a deep fake like that.
Right.
So
you got to get one of those.
It's kind of eerie.
Guys that do the whatever, like Obama sings something.
Mm-hmm.
They find like every single word that they've ever said and put it into like whatever song. It's like, okay, or like a Shmoyo, whatever. That
Wasn't Shmo Yo Ho?
Something like that.
I feel like nobody can say the name of their channel.
I used to be able to. If I read it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like it's weird because we haven't heard anything, at least anything that big from deep fakes. Like this has been a thing, I guess. Like
right. This isn't new.
Right. And like it kind of just went away. And I guess this feels like there's like it's just a novelty.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see it in videos and like putting someone's face. It's like, oh, the AI technology is so good it can map the face perfectly. And you're like, okay, what are you gonna use it for?
Yeah.
What, like replacing actors on a movie, or like one of the popular beginnings was like putting your favorite actress on porn.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean the fact that Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. being Doc and Marty trending at all, I feel like is indicative of where this technology has gotten, and it's like not really any further than it was years ago. Or like when did this really hit? This was like a couple years ago.
It was probably
3
No, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Had to be.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like it was more
Maybe
recent,
3
but I
years
do
ago.
think you're right that it was longer. But yeah, I mean, we've been mapping like faces onto like characters for quite a while. I think that the accuracy has gotten better, and they don't kind of glitch out like I think a lot of people think they still do, and a lot of that has to do with the amount of data you put in as well.
Right.
Which means some of these are better not just because the algorithms are better, but because they understand that there's a certain amount of data to get to a quality level necessary to make a video that's entertaining with a deepfake. Like, you can't get away with like a YouTube video with a crappy deepfake anymore.
Yeah.
You have to step it up each time.
Yeah. And I guess that's also why it kind of went away, is because we kind of realized it was actually fake.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like the fear from the beginning was that, oh, what if they put someone's face on and everybody thinks it's real, and it could ruin somebody's career, or it could be like a politician that said something. Meanwhile, you can't really get them unless you get like an actor that's like imitation, and then put their face on there. So you're not gonna really know, and then you can kind of pick it apart pretty easily. I don't know. It kind of just like falls flat, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away with really mimicking a person. I mean, even like Corridor Digital, this is like a YouTuber. It's like a big group of people. It's a company. They do like visual effects for the most part. And they do lots of different types of videos. And I'm sure, honestly, there's a lot of people who've watched a Corridor Digital video, but didn't know that they watched a Corridor Digital video. Like that, what's that? That Boston Dynamics. Like so many people have seen that, and no one knows that was them.
Yeah.
So they made like really high quality deepfake videos. One of what's his name? The Scientologist actor, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
Yeah. They had a Tom Cruise impersonator come in, and this is a guy who's like really well like known as being like a very good Tom Cruise impersonator. And even then, with the face on him, like it's pretty realistic. It's quite incredible. You can get to the point where you can convince people that this is actually him doing something.
Right.
But there is still the differences, and there's still like some physical differences, and
It's this like really reminds me. It's kind of weird because of the like sort of direct connection between this deepfakes and porn, and it reminds me of like the snapping when all of like the bunch of pictures, new pictures, all the that of all the like actresses released, and then like on forums, people would be like, "Oh, these pictures, we got to go through them," and they would pick through and find like birthmark here. Is that the same birthmark in like this photo? We know is them. So like, there's like really intricate like process of elimination of knowing if like photos or videos of people are real, and like it'll be very difficult to just like plaster someone's face on somebody else's body, even if it is an impersonator.
And I mean, like, people are going to have an alibi. You know, people are somewhere else when you're impersonating them. So, you know, I feel like there's a lot of ways to discredit and like show that a particular deepfake is not real. And then obviously like context, like, you know, if they said something outrageous, like if you made like some politician go out and be like, "I hate black people," you know, what would have made them want to go out and do that?
Right,
You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard to like convince people without making it feel incredibly organic, which is difficult because you have to have an actor actually like do it, you know, and pretend to be the person. They have to mimic those different physical individual like quirks and tendencies.
Well, I want to point out though, I know there was a website that, you know, Jordan Peterson, who that person is.
Yeah.
Well, there's a site that if you type in words, Jordan Peterson will say it. There was an AI that copied his voice. So if AI is getting good enough for that, like obviously just one person, but you can.
That's only like one type of voice, though. Remember, because if he's angry about something, you probably can't make that bot sound angry. You're probably gonna say it in a very like in his, you know, Jordan Peterson
Kermit
voice,
the Frog voice, yes.
You know, just like total monotone.
True.
You know,
it's just I mean, it depends on the data that you have. If it's public people, they always talk. Imagine like I don't. Yeah, I guess like if you took Obama, like I don't remember like him being angry ever, right? That was the whole joke about his anger translator.
Yeah.
So like you couldn't get something like that, but you can like put a bunch of his speeches in, and then it outputs the ability to type in whatever you want Obama to say. So you take that, you put him.
I mean, once again, I think that you can make it so that he'll say anything you want him to say, but I just don't think he'll say it in a human way where he's changing his inflection constantly, where he's like, you can make it so that the inflection changes, but how are you going to make sure it does it at the right time just by typing it in? You know, you really have to do like you maybe you can like trial and error it and keep rewriting a speech until it just happens to sound human enough.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I don't think that you would actually have to do what like Amazon's trying to do, where they're like learning actual inflections of voice.
Right. Well, I know that I tried it out, you know, the site for Jordan Peterson's voice, and you put like exclamations, it does get that like little punch a bit, or if you do like obviously commas or pauses, like if you do like capitalize some like words,
you can manipulate it.
You can do that, and this just like the early stage of like showing an example of one person, and I think that maybe the combination between the two would be a very deadly combo.
I think we will get to the point very soon where we will be able to like completely perfectly mimic a human voice, any voice we want as well, just by listening to a person for long enough.
Yeah.
And that include, you know, like I said, Amazon's probably one of the driving forces behind that, and Google's probably too with their personal assistants. They want to get to the point where Amazon doesn't sound like a robot, or I mean Alexa doesn't sound like a robot,
right?
Because people are gonna be way more likely to buy her if they feel like they're talking with a person. But once we do get to that point, and like you said, mix the two together, then we really, I think we unlock both the good and the bad side. It's like a Pandora's box.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, you kind of talked about this a little bit, like reviving old characters, like they're doing with James Dean. In like what's the upcoming movie called?
Oh,
or is it remaking it or something?
Are they remaking?
I don't even know. I just remember that story
No, I
and
don't
people
think.
being
I thought
upset
they were
about
just
it.
doing Western and they're putting him in it in a new
Okay.
movie.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right. Like as like a
'Cause there's no point
minor.
in remaking a movie just to be him in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, they're gonna do something new and have him be in it, I think.
yeah.
I don't remember what the actual like story was though. I think you
Neither
said it
do
was like
I.
Western.
Yeah.
But besides the point is just that, there's actually even already an ethical discussion on whether or not it's okay to mimic a person who's dead for the sake of entertainment. But I feel like as long as their estate makes some money, I guess it's not that bad. But then, like, does owning the rights to a dead person's face and voice become a thing?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, it kind of happens with the musicians. Like if they're like if like a rapper dies and like it's like the money now, where's the money go, and then like it goes to the family, and it's like you're just gonna own their music and their rights to that, or the record label owns it because they own like the music, to really kind of have that in that sphere. So maybe it would turn into the for acting.
It could. I think it'd be very strange to like see like new copyright laws work like around who owns the rights to like people's faces. Like, do we own the rights to our own faces and voices? Like, does it become illegal to copy one's face and voice without their consent? I think that would be reasonable.
I think that I would probably go for something more along the lines of like defamation, where if the application of the person is like not damaging and like
Yeah.
any sort of way like that, then it's probably okay because it's just like pictures are public domain. If like, oh, I own a picture, I'm free to do whatever I want with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess the only problem is that it's more difficult to copy to prove that you didn't do something
mm,
if done the correct way. Like you
yeah,
can copy if let's say you just copied somebody's voice
yeah,
instead of copying their face.
mm,
You can just make it like sound like a phone call.
yeah. Like we get like the like hidden recordings of like these news like whatever like we were seeing. It's just like voices with the whatever subtitles, so you're like reading it and hearing it, but you don't know, like you can hear who it is, but you're not seeing who it is. Yeah.
And like think about governments, like major governments like Russia or China, and how they might want to create manipulative like videos and like propaganda and try to convince people that somebody's saying something that they didn't, and instead of making it so outrageous that like news will pick up on it, but making it something like minor that kind of moves them into in back like deeper into their extremist view or their strongly like felt or held view.
Right, like or like I imagine like North Korea making like a video, like a deep
Mm-hmm.
fake of like Trump or something like
Being
that.
like, I love Jim or Kim Jong Jin. Was it what's his
Jong
name? No, is
Kim Jong.
Kim Jong Un.
Mhm.
Um,
Ping pong pong.
what was his dad's name again?
Il. Kim Jong Il.
Kim Il Jun.
No, Kim Jong Il.
Kim
Because
Jong
Il
Il.
is like the first name that
Why do I
changes,
feel like I
but it's
don't remember
last.
their names, even though I totally remember their names?
Yeah,
It's so weird.
it doesn't matter.
You get like placed on the
Fuck 'em.
spot, and you're like, "Fuck, wait."
Yeah,
You write that word too many times, and you reread it, and you're like, "Wait, is that how you spelled it?" Yeah, Kim Jong Il. Yeah. Now
Yeah.
I feel like I remember.
God.
But yeah, I mean, like maybe like a video of Trump like praising him as like the
Right.
greatest leader in the world.
Right. Okay.
I mean, the thing is though, obviously that's not satire, but if I made it and put it up on YouTube, it'd be satire, right?
So yeah.
But if Kim Jong Il or Kim Jong Un
Un.
does it, then it's not satire, right? Like that's kind of I feel like there's a context and an intent
Okay. Yeah.
that makes a difference.
Right. I guess that we would have to watch out because like like we're talking about videos, but if you own like an image of yourself,
Mhm.
like all the pictures people take of you, like now they owe you if you say so. Like give me money for my you have me or
Mhm.
like photos of me or something.
Yeah, like blackmail and
I mean, because you already can take photos of people
Mm-hmm.
and then like distribute them if you wanted to.
I mean, that is legal, right? To take pictures of somebody.
You can take a picture of somebody if it's like public, you know, spaces.
I guess you can't like take a picture of them in their house.
Right.
But you can take a picture of them while they're walking. Right. I mean, like I guess like
They're
anybody
like
doing.
making out with their mistress in
Mhm.
the park.
Yeah. Um. I don't know that because I think that it's like there's too much that you can like pretend is satire.
Mhm.
You know, like if you just like made a ton of videos of like a person doing something, even if it was like or like very obviously fake and
Mhm.
not them, and it's like horrible. Like I don't know, like a politician or like a famous person, like in like a rape and molesting, like rape, like they're arresting like a rapist or like a molester or something on like a live video, and he makes like just tons of videos like making somebody famous look bad.
Mm.
I feel like that's I mean, sure that's
I mean, then we'll just get
obviously fake,
Snopes to
but
look it up. I don't know.
what do you mean?
Like Snopes is fact checks like news and memes and shit now. Well, like Snopes is the site that like if you have like article or a post, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you know, watch, this is what's false in here or what's true, right?
Okay.
So we can take that because I see memes where like when it's like, oh, Hillary Clinton like killing like Epstein or some meme like that. And then it's like, no, like fact check, like there's no evidence that Hillary Clinton did this thing. So it's like you can just do that for videos. Like this person, you know, was never even arrested or convicted or blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and you can just have fact
I mean, if
checks.
you can get
We're
the AI to like fact check everything, that'd be pretty
well,
impressive.
we're already having like the social medias doing fact checking
Mhm.
on what's there already. So we're already in the realm of doing that. So
Yeah.
if the distribution of these deepfakes start coming out, then we're gonna have to do it with that. And they're already trying to adapt to the like the amount of like media that's already
Mhm.
spread in social media.
I mean, I think like another one of the main problems with deep fakes is that, you know, while there's some positive applications like we've mentioned, you know, just general entertainment and, you know, impersonating celebrities or bringing people back from the dead or porn for some people. And I feel like that's a totally different ethical issue that needs to be discussed. But like just on those being potentially the positive things, the biggest negative is obviously that you can impersonate people and you can blackmail people. And if there's that big of a gap and that easy, whether it's just faces or voices, is it worth having the entertainment if it comes at the cost of people's privacy and safety? Like, do you think it's something that would need to be regulated or made illegal, or do you think it's something that the market can regulate? Because I don't know if it is really something, because I think
Well,
it's too if you put enough work into a deepfake, you can make something that is
yeah.
just
I mean,
indistinguishable from real.
like other than like the obvious statement of like we can't ban it because it's already like a thing.
Yeah, and
And
anybody could make the software.
right, so like it's gonna be very difficult, like especially like distribution, like memes. Some people don't know where the hell memes pop up out of, and
Mhm.
like kind of controlling that's like possible. But I was thinking about blackmail, and you can blackmail somebody by showing them like a photo that you took of, or so you say you took of them, and if they
Mhm.
like think that they did it, then that's it. Like the only way to blackmail somebody to do something is you'd say, I have this photo, damning evidence of photo of you, to do what I want or give me
Right.
money. And if it's real, they give you money or do what you want. But if it's not, then they're gonna be like, screw you. I don't you know, you're not gonna like this is not true. So why should I give you money for something that's not true? And then like at that point you already know.
You can make it seem true. Maybe you could like find out just
Well,
enough about
also
a
now
person that they might be in an affair. So you take that information that they might be in an affair, you don't actually know, and you try to create a picture that looks like they're in that sort of position doing that thing that they might be doing, and then you know how like you can catch somebody in a lie by being like, "Look, I have evidence that you did this." And they go, "Oh my god, you have evidence that you did that? Oh my god, I did it." And then you know that they did it. So like you could do that to somebody.
I don't know, I think you know, I think it's kind of just wherever we are with that sort of blackmail thing. I think
Mhm.
that's where this has to lie. I don't think that just because the technology gets better that we have to stop the technology.
Yeah, I think that just in this conversation, I'm almost trying to think of how you deal with it because you really can't even make it illegal because it's just so easy to recreate. Like you can make it so that it can't be like up on the web, but it's just gonna go dark web. You know,
Right.
it's just gonna you're just gonna make it more legal, and then it's gonna become more of a thing. But you know, how do you still stop people from doing it? And I think that kind of comes down to like even potentially like blockchain, right? Where you own your face and your voice. And there's like a basically like a trail of your presence. And like, you know, you can essentially dispute, like an AI can decide like, oh, this piece of information doesn't line up with the rest of your profile. So it's like every single picture you take on Instagram, every post on Twitter, every Facebook post, everything you do that is tracked by somebody on the internet, and it's all part of your profile. It could be like, oh, you know, that same day that this picture was supposed to have been taken was the same day that you sent a text message like to this person saying you're going to meet up at this totally different location, therefore this can't be real.
Right.
Because this is a more significant provable instance of you.
Right. I guess
so then it can like decide like, oh no, this is fake.
Right. I guess like we can't like you can kind of do that now where like but you can't really prove that the person that you sent the message is who they were and all like other stuff.
It takes a lot of work, yeah.
But it's definitely possible that like if there still needs to be information there for the AI to disprove, you know, the fake. So if there's information there for the AI to disprove the fake, there's also information there for the person to disprove the fake as well. And in lots of these cases, it is somebody famous or wealthy, and they have the tools and a means to be able to stop it. It's like something happening to like you or I, like somebody releasing something like what I said some like shit, like okay, like nothing really is gonna change.
Yeah, if you're like a nobody, then there's not really a reason to blackmail a nobody. You don't have anything to lose.
Right.
Then, you know, what's the point? So it's typically only really, like you said, famous people or like rich people. And then they're more vocal online. They have a more trackable information. But like you said, I mean, anybody can prove that they weren't in a place by showing airplane tickets, by showing, you know, even your phone literally tracks your location everywhere you go, which is what I meant about the profile.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
You know, like you can know every single thing every person, you know, a person does just by tracking their online activity if they're, I mean, at least below the age of like 30 probably. There's going to be outliers. There's going to be those exceptions that like went off the grid and are like, fuck technology and internet.
You know, I heard, I mean, completely side, but just quick. I heard that more young people are like not making Facebooks and Instagrams, so like that trackability is getting lost there too, because they're learning the mistakes of like our generation.
I mean, that's what happens in every generation. That's why everyone overblows everything, because people forget that we learn from the other generations above us that have shown us what is right and what's wrong. It's why like nobody in at least our age group really uses credit cards, is because credit cards had such a bad rep, at least growing up. You know, I think there's so much credit card debt, and that's like now all the kids use debit accounts and debit cards. That's the craze. And then, you know, we now are realizing, oh wait, because we didn't use credit cards, now we don't have credit, so we can't, you know, get approved for mortgages and loans and for things like that. So, you know, it's a double-sided coin. You know, we constantly realizing like, oh shit, now we actually have to use credit cards, but now we actually have to not spend money on them, or at least treat them like a debit card, and pretend that we can't spend anything we don't have in our account.
Oh yeah, especially with the thousands.
But like when credit cards came out, like my parents tell me that people would just get one and just start slamming it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like this idea of like, oh my god, once you get a credit card, you know, you're just gonna spend the shit out of it and you're gonna have fun. And that's how it was sold and marketed, and because that's what the credit card companies want. They want you to overspend and then fall behind your payments and then keep and keep and keep and keep.
Just pay the minimum and then the interest goes up forever, and then you never pay it off. But like, yeah. But I like learned. I don't know. I guess it depends on who's gonna learn the experience to teach the next generation. Because nobody does, then we're all screwed. And I think that we're learning from these deep fakes, at least, and like just even
not trusting
just
anything.
Editing. Just like remember when Photoshop, it's like this is Photoshop that, like the amount of Instagram, this is real. This is Instagram. This is reality. The amount of that comes out now, it's just like we all know that it's fake and like too toned up and just like things aren't real. We know what reality looks like, and like whatever the shield or whatever's coming off, so that we actually like can tell what things are real or not. And that's gonna happen here with deepfakes. We're just gonna be able to we're gonna be able to know just based on like obviously experiences that we have, but also just the technology that can also stop it's like while it's being created, it also can be stopped.
Yeah, like we're gonna create the technology to manage this new technology.
Exactly.
I do think that there's like one particular application that I think I'm most afraid of, and it's not one that's really gonna impact us directly. And I think we kind of hit on it just shortly, and I want to return to it, and that is propaganda. And then also government framing, right? Like there's a video of Khashoggi going into the embassy, right? Like that kind of video is not the hardest thing to deepfake, right? So obviously he did actually do that, and there was no, it wasn't like a lie or anything like that, right. And he was killed by the prince, and his thugs. But you could theoretically take a dictatorship that like America could be like, we don't want this dictatorship to exist anymore in this area, so we're gonna like release a video that looks totally real that like you could use, or a country like China could like put a person up for execution and then be like, look, we have evidence, and it's just totally doctored like deepfake evidence, and it's like, who's gonna debate with the government on this video of this person actually doing this thing? But meanwhile, it was actually not that person. Right. It was an actor. And when it's the government, they have the money, they have the resources. Deepfakes are not easy to create. They require a ton of data. They require a person who can do the impression. They require like intense planning. You have to make sure you get birthmarks correct if you're gonna show any skin. Like if you're gonna do anything that's really damning, that's a really big deal, like it has to be perfect, and it can't be a way out of it.
Yeah.
And I think the only groups of people powerful enough to use deepfakes and to make them as perfect as they would need to be effective would be like governments or like massive major corporations. So that's like the place I feel like deepfakes may end up like becoming this like thing that we don't know is even happening. Because we can't know that it's happening, because that's the point.
Right. And then I don't know, like I guess it just is supposed to give the government like more credibility than when they just say like, like Assad gassed all these people and everybody believes, and then has to like attack, like bomb them, and then later it comes out that wasn't actually true, and it's like, okay, well, you told us a thing, we believed it. Now if they show us a thing, we're more likely to believe it. But then
exactly,
like I don't know, it's like that is like way more intense.
And Iran's gonna be like, oh no, that didn't happen, like whatever country we go after, it would be like, no, that's totally untrue. And it's like they would say that either way. That's not proving anything by them declining it, like saying that it's not true, or that it's like doctored image or a doctored video. So yeah, I feel like that's gonna be like the dark, like hidden world of deepfakes, like where we won't even be able to know that they're even being done to us.
We need to keep it like a war hawk out of the presidency.
Yeah,
be okay.
I mean, then there's also like, we'll see what happens, because things are getting heated in the world right now. Like we've got like some giant virus in China. We've got
unrest and protests in all these countries.
Like over 15 to 20. I can't even keep track of them all.
Yeah, at this point.
It's insane, the number of them. And one of the biggest one is Hong Kong, which is also relevant when you're talking about the coronavirus. And then we also have just like a lot of like political situations, and I think tensions seem to be getting like tighter and tighter and tighter, and dictatorships like are becoming more difficult to hold. I think that like the only ones that are effectively doing it still are like North Korea somehow, Russia, and China feels like it's falling apart.
Yeah.
it feels like it's on a tipping point right now. I feel like
they're in full damage control right now. Oh my god.
I mean, there's even like speculation that the numbers are nowhere near as low as China's reporting, and you know, of course they're going to tell us that it's lower because they're trying to hold their economy together.
Yeah.
You know, and if the numbers are worse than that, and it's not contained, it spreads throughout the country, I'm sure that they're going to sacrifice the poor.
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't know how true this is, but those like hospitals that they put up that were super quick, I heard that is something along the lines of just like prisons, and they're just killing the people that are like.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
China.
There's
so,
but there's also like thousands and thousands of these people. You know, that are all infected, and if you can't give them aid and care quickly enough, then you have to just kill them, which is horrible.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if it turns into, 500,000 people have the coronavirus, 1 million people, 2 million people, 4 million people, 8 million people, right? There's literally over 1 billion people in that country.
Yeah, and if they can't control the spreading and the amount of money to...
It's like a wildfire throughout the country.
Crazy.
It literally will just decimate China forever. And we'll see what happens, but, I mean, if they do not contain it, it has that potential. I think that there's, like, speculation that the growth rate is higher than they've been reporting as well, which is how quickly it'll spread through the population.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we've successfully tangented off of deepfakes.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered all the major intrigue, different ideas around it, and
like consequences I feel that could come of it, and how we are possibly going to deal with it. Essentially,
though, like you put it out right at the beginning, it's a novelty.
Yeah.
Even bringing the dead back to life in a movie. It's a novelty. It's a gimmick. Like there's a reason James Dean is the one that they picked. It's because he's the one that's gonna be the most controversial. That's gonna drive the most people to the theater. It's a gimmick. He's not gonna do anything interesting. He's not gonna make the movie better or worse.
By just his face being on it, or someone else acts for him.
Exactly. So I mean, it's interesting, but it's definitely like not gonna aid humanity. It's only gonna hurt it, really. It has the potential for some light entertainment. I mean, I feel like Corridor Digital has already pushed the envelope as far as it goes. Mimicking Tom Cruise and then doing the big Keanu Reeves like the
John Wick, that thing.
Yeah, well, it wasn't John Wick. He basically was in a gas station that got held up by a person, and he basically like kicks the guy's ass. And the whole point is that they like deep faked Keanu Reeves to make it like so that he actually did this, and then spread it on the internet like he actually went into a gas station and beat up a guy who was trying to rob the place with a gun. And I mean, it looked realistic, but obviously it wasn't perfect. And that doesn't make the actor look bad. But it is sort of satire in a way, like you're kind of parodying like the John Wick and like his personality and his online meme status. But at the end of the day, like it doesn't get further. It doesn't get further until the second you cross that line, it becomes malicious.
Yeah,
like that's about as playful as you can get.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think about deepfakes.
Yeah, I want to know if there are actually any positive applications other than the light entertainment, something that might change us, change the technology, or something that could be something more useful, I would say. Because entertainment's good, but it's not like useful technology.
It's also, requires tens of thousands of pictures in order to make perfect. Like, requires a lot of work to make it in the first place. Yeah, and also, maybe we're just totally overblowing the downsides, like the fears, but we'll see. I mean, we're definitely all gonna enjoy experiencing the future together. So but thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. As always, thank you for listening and following.
Check us out every Thursday on YouTube, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are available.
You can find us on Instagram at Unstoppable Force Podcast and Twitter at UForcePod for news and updates.
We'll see you guys next week. And until then, stay unstoppable.